Come on, Jim, let's look at easily the worst aircraft of the Second World War.
It's absolutely bonkers, isn't it?
We often talk about excellence, don't we? And ingenuity. Yeah. This is ingenuity, but zero excellence.
Yeah.
I mean, this is small but imperfectly formed. It's a flying turd.
That's incredible. Wow.
So you're telling me, James, this aeroplane did 600 miles an hour with that propeller?
I think it's fair to say that this is the most bonkers aircraft that came out of the Second World War, isn't it?
100% Nazi death trap.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything about it, mad.
Crackers, bonkers.
Not even an aircraft, is it?
It's not. No, it's a glider actually. It's a rocket-powered glider. Because, you know, what does the gliding conjures up images of, you know, the serene swirl above a power station as you reach the higher skies.
The widest wings available to humanity.
Imaginable, being at one with the sky.
All of that.
Rather than doing 600 miles an hour. Straight up.
623 miles an hour.
623 miles an hour. A speed unmatched until the 1950s, until jet fighters come along in the 1950s.
And it could climb to 32,000 feet in 2 minutes, 45 seconds. You know, eat that, Hawker Hurricane.
Blimey.
I mean, we can't even get to 15,000.
But the problem with that, though,
20,000 in 30.
Well, but the problem is you go past the Hawker Hurricane, you leave it behind. You can't engage it, can you?
It was equipped with two 30mm cannons. But again, it's so fast. And the cannons had an incredibly slow rate of fire and velocity. They're only like 500 meters a second, feet per second or something, which is way off, you know, when you compare like an 88mm at 3,000 feet a second.
Yeah.
It's pretty small beer, and they just can't hit anything.
Yeah.
So total victories in this are somewhere between 9 and 18 Allied aircraft.
That's right, for the cost of 14, 15 of these. And so basically this is one of those German innovations of the Second World War which kills more people on the German side probably than it does
I think substantially.
Allied competence.
I think it kills more pilots, German pilots, than it does on the ground.
So, what are we talking about? This is the Me-163B.
It's a Messerschmitt.
Komet.
Yes.
So it's a Messerschmitt.
Comet with a K.
A Komet with a K. Everything about this is crazy. The chances are, if you're flying it, it might dissolve you. Isn't that right?
Yes, because it uses, what does it use? Hydrogen peroxide, which is very volatile.
T-Stoff and C-Stoff, so it's a mixture of fuels, and it's a classic rocket. You've two fuels that are kept separate from one another in the aircraft, and then they're allowed to come into contact with each other, and then they turn to massive amounts of very high-powered, super hot steam.
Yes.
Or dissolve the pilot. So there's this terrible story. And we shouldn't laugh about this, but
I know, but it's so mad, and it happened a long time ago.
Yeah, it did happen a long time ago. Is that one of the test pilots? So the undercarriage, you will also, the sharp-eyed amongst you will have noticed, these undercarriage fall off when you take off
because there's no room to put them.
No room to. They can't retract.
No.
Also, this is simple. There's no mechanism that powers the electronics. This turbine.
Well, it doesn't power the whole thing.
No, it doesn't power the whole thing, Jim. But you drop the undercarriage when you take off, and if that goes wrong, because of the spring in them, the shock absorbing spring, they might bounce back up
and hit you, and then you
hit
blow
you. And you blow up, or in the case of
you vaporise.
Yes, Josef Stoß, I think his name was. Poes, I can't remember anyway. He comes round again, jettisons his fuel, lands, but as an unfortunate landing, and when they come and find him, his arm has simply gone, even though he's wearing an acid-proof suit. So none of this is...
Well, I remember talking to Eric Winkle-Brown.
Yes.
Legendary test pilot.
Flew everything, right?
Flew everything. 485 different aircraft, something like that, will never ever be bettered or equalled or whatever.
Yeah.
And he flew this.
Right.
And he said it was just the most terrifying thing because he knew that when he came back down again, he couldn't afford to have a drop of fuel on it. Yeah. And he said it's not one of those things where you just sort of get into it, give it a quick check out, read the pilot's notes, and off you go. It's a completely different scale of danger.
Because if you're used to flying propeller aircraft, this is it's nothing like them. Because it being a glider, so the thing is, you fly for 8 minutes at very, very high speed. Maybe
really high speed.
Really high speed. Maybe you get to fire your useless cannon at a B-17. Maybe you don't, right? But then
you've got a nanosecond to fire.
You've got a nanosecond to fire, and then you return powerless. and it handles very well because it's a glider. But the problem is, you can't come round again if your approach is wrong, like in a powered aircraft, like in this Vulcan or that Lysander. You can't go round, or that Mustang. You can't go round again. You've got to land.
So even if you're a good pilot, what is it, 50-50?
Yeah.
If that, on a good day?
Hannah Reich, when she was testing it, her spinal injuries from landing it because the landing was too heavy. You know, she's a brilliant test pilot. I mean,
look at it though. I mean, and look at this. I mean, it's actually all a bit kind of more roughly made than you would like, really, for something that's such a hypersensitive aircraft. I mean, look at all this. There's sort of bits overlapping. You know, that doesn't shut down properly, presumably it did back in the day. But I mean, you know, it's not exactly fine-tuned engineering, is it?
It's not
Versprung Dirk technique.
No, it's desperate, though, isn't it? It's German desperation. And I do like the way the two fuels are carefully marked on the fuselage, T and C, for the T-Stoff and the C-Stoff. And the thing is if it comes into T-Stoff is so volatile, if it comes into contact with any organic matter, it goes off.
That's the hydrogen peroxide bit.
Yeah, it goes off. So if you've, if you've a crumb of one of your sandwiches, or whatever, it goes off.
What I must do is a very, very gentle landing, but I only have a skid.
I know.
I mean, the two don't go hand in hand, do they?
No.
Gentle landing and landing on skids.
You've really got to feel for the guys who get
And also, I mean, no offence, but it's a single skid.
Yeah.
So, what happens if you just...
Well, you
vaporise.
You do have to really feel for the pilots. You get allotted this squadron. This
yes, great news. You'll be joining.
They're flying our latest technology. But this also, I mean, the other thing though is so much of the chat of the Nazi propaganda, particularly after the July plot, is the Wunderwaffen are just around the corner. Our wonder weapons are coming, and we're going to win the war because of them. And this is it.
Yeah.
This is one of them.
But Fritz, I just saw something hurtling into the sky very fast.
Yeah.
What was it? That was our new Wunderwaffen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the American pilots, this must be where some of the sort of Foo Fighter UFO things come from.
Yes, maybe.
American pilots see this thing go whoop, like that. What the hell was that, boys?
Holy moly, holy cow.
Holy cow, what was that? But to what end? I mean,
yes,
obviously.
What's the point?
What's the point? We come back to that, the old, but sometimes things are both, they're symbolic and they're literal, aren't they?
Yes.
And this is, a literal symbol of where the Germans have clevered themselves into something monumentally stupid. As they say in Spinal Tap, there's a fine line between clever and stupid.
Yeah.
And this is it.
This is it. This is that fine line.
So, Jim, the armament on this is this 30mm cannon with a very low muzzle velocity and a low rate of fire, right?
Yep.
So it's not very good actually as an interceptor.
No.
Apart from the fact you're going too quickly to line up and shoot anything down, the gun you've got is then inadequate, right?
So on every single level it's going wrong.
It's going wrong. So they have a solution. Right? Imagine if in the wing route you could fit 5 cannon each side, right, that fire upwards, not unlike the Schrager music, the night fighting jazz music thing they use on bomber streams, right? And better than that, it's got a photovoltaic circuit in it, right? So when you go under an Allied bomber, the shadow of the bomber sets the cannon off.
Wow! So it just does it automatically.
Does it automatically, and more than that, right? Yeah. The cannon fall out of the wing, so it's a recoilless weapon, so it doesn't affect your flight. Imagine that, eh?
That's insane.
Imagine using that once in combat, and then the war ending.
Yeah. Scheiße.
We have such an excellent idea, but we can only use it once.
It is amazing, isn't it? How they have this incredible technology. They have these amazing minds that are creating this incredible stuff, and yet they kind of misapply it.
Yeah, or they're forced into having these incredible solutions to things.
Yeah.
Because they can't do the basics. They can't defend Germany adequately. And the idea originally is there to be 40 stations of these around every possible target in Germany, and up they'll go. But they're crap.
That's the bottom line. There's no getting away from it.
They're crap.
Brilliant. But crap.
Brilliant, but crap. And obviously, the other thing I think is really interesting about this is the kind of technology that This sort of aircraft is why people talk about Nazi UFO projects,
Yeah.
and Nazi zero gravity and all this sort of stuff. Whereas what this actually is,
Hunt for 0 point.
yeah, exactly. What this actually is a you know, one of those sort of bottle rockets, but with a bloke in it going. "Yeah."
Well, I mean, if it was animated and turned into a cartoon, you still wouldn't believe it.
No, exactly. Roadrunner would get in this. Roadrunner would get in this.
And Wile E. Coyote would be the pilot.
Yes, exactly.
And it would go wrong.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah, the Roadrunner would be running along. This would come up just behind it and then explode.
Yes, and Wile E. Coyote would be left there, looking charred and blackened.
Exactly. Not dissolved.
Not dissolved.
I mean,
Built for Wile E. Coyote.
This is the aircraft an 8-year-old would design, wouldn't it?
It's nuts.
And that, I mean, it kind of is the Nazi war effort. They've sort of got an adolescent in charge, haven't they?
Yeah, basically.
Little wonder.
Yeah.
The thing is, most of the planes in this museum, in this amazing collection, I want to get in and fly. Pass.
Leave that to Wile E. Coyote.
That's a hard pass. You just think of the you know, the Irk shutting you in, locking the thing.
The very best of luck, Fritz.
Gute Chance.
Gute Chance. Guten Chance.